The Sustainable Development Goal Zero Hunger challenges the world to end hunger through international collaboration and innovative thinking. It seeks to achieve food security, improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture. It's obvious that there's no single solution to this huge challenge.
Hi, my name is Sean Cash, and I'm an agricultural economist who focuses on consumer issues around food, nutrition, and the environment. I'm an associate professor at the Friedman School of Nutrition Science and Policy at Tufts University. I'm also an adjunct professor at the Department of Resource Ecology and Environmental Sociology at the University of Alberta. Livestock is a crucial part of what we eat today, and projections from the Food and Agricultural Organization and other organizations suggest that it will continue to be so for quite a while. As diets become richer and more diverse, the high-value protein that livestock provides offers improvements for nutrition for many people across the world. Livestock products not only provide this protein, but are also important sources of a wide range of essential micronutrients, such as iron, zinc, and vitamin A. For the large majority of people in the world, particularly in developing countries, livestock products remain a desired food for nutritional value and taste. Over the last 40 years, we've seen a considerable increase in worldwide livestock production from just over 50 million metric tons in the 1960s to over 300 million today, and that is projected to continue to grow. Per capita consumption of meat during that same period has roughly doubled across the world, and per capita consumption of dairy has increased as well, although not as dramatically. In order to meet the wants and needs of a growing population, we need to better understand the production of livestock. In order to feed a hungry planet, livestock will continue to be part of the mix. And although changes can and will occur on the demand side, being able to better provide for these growing wants and needs is an essential endeavor for science.
My name is Dennis Fidalis Mujibi. I work at the Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology as a senior research fellow. My work basically entails working with smallholder farmers to identify, promote, and multiply the most appropriate germplasm that maximizes production in their farming enterprises. Animal source foods are an important ingredient in reducing hunger and malnutrition. Milk and eggs especially are some of the most wholesome foods that any individual can actually have, and increased production of this must be promoted if Africa is to meet its food production challenges. However, in Africa, most producers of animal source foods do not consume it. They would rather sell it and buy lower grade proteins because of their cash needs, like school fees, other household needs. My job entails not only increasing productivity, but also focusing on nutrition-sensitive productivity. This is a big task, and it is important because it aligns to the Sustainable Development Goals of zero hunger, in that if farmers can get animals that produce more, then the chances are that they will be able to consume more and therefore increase their general nutritional well-being. What we are seeking to do is to try and optimize or obtain the most optimal breeds and breed types that smallholder farmers can use to achieve more productivity, but also minimize the input costs. Climate change is affecting the ability of farmers to obtain maximum productivity from their livestock breeds. This is because of increasing temperatures, which makes the animals more susceptible to diseases, but also there is frequent droughts, so that farmers are not getting the crop residues they need to feed the animals. Additionally, when crops fail, farmers do not have the extra income they need to buy inputs for livestock. Our job is to try and find genetic markers to identify the right breeds and breed types that maximizes productivity.
So as we can see from Dennis's talk, different production practices around the world will warrant different innovations. To achieve zero hunger, people need access to innovative production technologies, access to breeds that are adapted to their environment where they live, and diversity in resources to create sustainable communities.
Hi, I'm Max Rothschild. I'm a distinguished professor in animal science at Iowa State University. Here, my research deals with the genetics of livestock, and in particular, I work with several species in developing countries. Livestock play an important role around the world. They are economic banks, they provide manure for crop growth, they provide animal source proteins for nutrition, and they are helpful in economic security. These animals account for, in many countries, as much as 50% of the gross national product. Our goals through our genomic research are to improve the efficiency of livestock and their nutritional value, and the ultimate beneficiaries are the families and children in developing countries.
I'm Dr. John Gilliard, Professor of Parasitology and Associate Dean of Research at the University of Calgary Faculty of Veterinary Medicine. My area of expertise is parasitology. Our mission includes a strong commitment to global animal health, particularly of livestock and wildlife. Of course, livestock health and production are extremely important, both for improving global agricultural productivity and for increasing the income and quality of life of small-scale food producers in the developing world. My specific expertise is in the area of gastrointestinal roundworm parasites of livestock. I research how these parasites become resistant to the drugs we use and how we can improve our methods of control to make them both more effective and more sustainable. These parasites are ubiquitous in grazing ruminants such as cattle and sheep and are a major cause of production loss in livestock globally. They cause huge amounts of economic loss for livestock producers throughout the world. Just as one example, they are estimated to cost the Brazilian livestock industry over $7 billion each year. Here in Canada too, they are a major cause of production loss. Unfortunately, we are dependent on a very small number of pharmaceutical drugs for treatment and control. The most widely used of these drugs is called ivermectin, and this is also very important for the control of human parasites in the developing world. Sheep and goats are particularly susceptible, and in some parts of the world, the situation has become so bad that people have abandoned small ruminant production simply because of the inability to control these parasites. Consequently, as with antimicrobials, there's an urgent need for new antiparasitic drugs. But even more immediately, we need to find better ways to use the currently available drugs so that we can slow down the development of resistance. This will need new diagnostic tools and also alternative methods of control, such as the breeding of livestock that are less susceptible to the effects of parasitism, the development of vaccines, and the improvement of nutrition and husbandry practices.
We can see that technology, animal health programs, developing vaccines, and enhancing nutrition and the adoption of improved husbandry practices are critical to breeding resilient and healthy animals.
Hi, I'm Joan Lunny. I'm a supervisory research scientist at the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Agricultural Research Service. I'm an expert in swine immunology, genomics, and disease resistance. We're really interested in providing a safer pork supply because it's really important. If we're going to have zero hunger in the future, we need to have not only a large amount of protein available for people to eat, but we need to have it to be safe and the animals that provide it to be disease-free. Our research is aimed at identifying healthier pigs. We've been doing that by looking at PRRS, porcine reproductive and respiratory syndrome. This syndrome is caused by a viral infection, and it is the most economically important infection in the U.S. today. It causes $1 billion losses a year in the United States, and worldwide it's a major issue. Our research has been aimed at using genetics to identify pigs which are more resistant to PRRS infection. And with that information, we're able to help the pig genetics breeders, the companies or individuals, to select for pigs that will be healthier. They won't have pneumonia, they won't have respiratory infections, or they'll have less severe respiratory infections. And with that, the pigs will grow faster and will provide a safer pork product.
Diseases and economic loss go hand in hand. Collaboration in immunology and parasitic research improves the lives of both animals and people.
Hi everyone, I'm Adrian Arantes. I'm a software engineer at IBM. As a research associate at Livestock Gentech, we put together a proposal with Professor Jorge Maia from the Northern Paraná State University in Brazil. This proposal fosters innovation by linking agriculture using dairy animals with early child development in a way that breaks the status quo for smallholder farmers and their families, especially pregnant women and women with children. This solution has basically two parts that work together. The first one, we plan to provide smallholder farmers access to high-yield cows, along with proper education. This will give them a better product to consume with a surplus to sell in the marketplace. The extra income will allow farmers to not only provide a balanced nutrition for their families, but also create a virtuous cycle promoting sustainability and scalability of the solution. The second one, we need to give education with psychological support to the families on this project in order to enhance child development. Emphasis on breastfeeding will be given. Nutritionists will guide them on the new sources of food. Family educational sessions about maltreatment of women and children will be conducted to create awareness on how women and children exposure to violence can affect and jeopardize child development. We believe this proposal will promote fundamental change in Northern Paraná. We will work together with the private and public sectors to make this happen. Thank you.
My name is John Parkins, and I'm a professor in the Department of Resource Economics and Environmental Sociology at the University of Alberta. And I'm going to be talking about my experience in Tanzania, East Africa, where I worked with a university there, Sokoine University of Agriculture, to introduce dairy goats into rural villages as a way to enhance nutrition and food security at the household and the village level. Livestock plays quite an important role in nutritional support and in food security in this part of the world. Firstly, this is a rain-fed agricultural system, and rains come very intermittently in this semi-arid region. And for that reason, crop production is quite precarious. Farmers really need to rely on other sources of food and nutrition, and livestock really plays an important role in this. Dairy goats in particular are quite important because they can be introduced into an agricultural system as a confined animal, so they can be fed fodder or plant materials that are not consumed by humans. They can also add to the nutrient portfolio of soils through manure production. And they really add a lot to the household in terms of nutrition. They can be consumed for meat. They can be used for milk production. They can also be sold by farmers to use the cash to purchase food in the markets or to use the cash to pay for household needs such as school fees. One last thing that's quite important about these dairy goats is that they are a smaller animal. And they can be owned and controlled by women more easily than, say, a larger or more resource-intensive animal like cows. And so this is where culture comes in, where the dairy goat can be a more culturally appropriate animal, can provide more equity between men and women and the control of resources and access to food security and nutrition at the household level. So for these reasons, I would say that livestock plays quite a crucial role in contributing to the Sustainable Development Goal of zero hunger. Thank you.
So crop production can be very risky, and so people need to rely on animals to get their nutrition. Introducing dairy goats to families can increase equity between men and women, and as a result, nutritional value at the household level increases. People's approach to livestock can differ based on where they come from. To achieve food security, we need to provide access to technology and resources based on cultural needs.
I'm Sean McGrath of Round Rock Ranching. With my family, I operate a 109-year-old fifth-generation family ranch in northeastern Alberta, Canada. Our vision statement is to produce the best beef in a better world. As a food producer, the Sustainable Development Goal for zero hunger is very important and a key driver of our business. Our ranch is located in the Prairie Parkland region and consists of roughly 80% native rangeland, The incredibly biodiverse prairie parkland ecosystem is also one of the most endangered on the planet. Through livestock grazing, we are able to preserve and enhance a natural ecosystem which evolved under grazing and feed the world. We turn sunshine and clean air into forage and ultimately use ruminants to convert it into high-quality protein. Sustainable ranching is all about conservation. The healthier our rangeland, the more productive it is. Planned grazing is a key. Along with food, we also provide a variety of other services to the public, such as carbon sequestration, wildlife and pollinator habitat, species preservation, water filtration, and other ecosystem services. Through a program called ALICE, Alternative Land Use Services, we are recognized and paid for these environmental goods and services. Optimizing production within our environmental constraints is vital to accomplishing our vision. As the pressure increases to provide nutrition to an ever-increasing population and there are additional public demands on our operation, it is essential that we work to help the public appreciate the complexities of food production and environmental stewardship. Done right, ranching is probably one of the few businesses in the world that can both enhance an ecosystem and feed the world.
So for many ranchers, food production and environmental stewardship are inseparable. Natural rangeland, for example, acts as a carbon sink, but also provides habitat for wildlife, promotes biodiversity, and preserves diverse species.
Hi, my name is Dana Penrice and I work at Organic Alberta with a program called Young Agrarians, where we're supporting the next generation of ecological farmers, and I also have worked a lot with the Poultry Research Centre at the University of Alberta, and I am also a farmer myself. On our farm, we raise heritage animals. Our decision to do this has a lot to do with the values of our customers and the kind of product that they're looking for, but it also has a lot to do with the need to have a more resilient and regenerative agriculture system. And to me, this has a lot to do with food security. So if we can maintain the biodiversity in our plants and animals, we can have a wide variety of things that are adapted to different climates. And when we're facing climate change, we're going to need this in our pockets. The other piece of food security that I believe we need to address is making sure that we can have this food affordable to everyone. So things like sliding scale of pricing, or having, in the States they've had programs where food stamps are used at farmers markets. In Canada I've seen where people will have a fund where people with higher income can contribute to it to make that food more affordable for low-income families.
Food security is really about empowerment, diversity, and accessibility. Maintaining biodiversity in plants and animals and keeping food affordable is an important factor for food security.
My name's Heather Burrow, and I'm a Professorial Research Fellow and Director of Research Partnerships and Innovation with the Institute for Rural Futures at the University of New England in Armidale, Australia. There are two primary ways that Australian livestock production is already helping the world to achieve the Zero Hunger Sustainable Development Goals. The first approach is by working directly with Australian livestock producers, and particularly those operating in extensive production systems, to help them improve the productivity of their own enterprises. In doing so, they will increase the supply of safe and nutritious food at prices that can be afforded by people in vulnerable situations across the globe. Australia also plays a very strong role by working directly with government and private sector research and industry partners in the developing countries themselves. Improving the profitability and productivity of livestock producers in Australia and developing countries globally requires very strong international partnerships, particularly in the areas of research and marketing and trade. It is simply not possible for any single organisation, any one organisation, or even any one country to fund such development on its own. Very, very strong and strengthening international partnerships are essential.
Using the food systems we have, food security is about technology adoption and innovation within these extensive production systems. Food security can only be achieved through the collaboration and support of international partnerships.
My name is Fawn Jackson, and I'm the Executive Director of the Canadian Roundtable for Sustainable Beef, a multi-stakeholder initiative that works towards advancing sustainability in the Canadian beef industry. So 1 billion of the world's poor depend on the livestock industry for their livelihood. So any improvements that we can make in the livestock industry or in agriculture that would increase their ability to purchase food is going to contribute to the goal of zero hunger. Secondly, livestock products, so meat, provides an energy and nutrient-rich source of food. So whether that's in the form of protein or iron or B vitamins, it's an extremely important part of the diet. So whether it's applying nutrition or income to purchase food, the livestock industry plays a really important role in reaching the Sustainable Development Goal towards zero hunger. So we all know that we need to feed the 9 billion by 2050, and so how are we going to go about doing that? And the first way is through reduction of food waste. So we waste about 30% of food that is produced, and so that of course takes a large amount of resources. So any improvements that we can make in food storage, in waste that's happening at processing or at retail and food service or at the farm is going to enable our ability to use those resources even better. Secondly, we need to make production efficiencies on the farm. So just as an example of some of those improvements that we've made in the past, if here in Canada we use the same production practices that we used in the 1950s, we would need 45 million more acres today to produce the same amount of beef. And so here in Canada, we're continually working to make those types of improvements. Globally, of course, there's lots of opportunity there. So improvements that we can make in animal health, in nutrition, in animal care is all going to lead to better use of those limited resources.
Hi, my name is Ellen Goddard, and I'm an agricultural economist at the University of Alberta in the Department of Resource Economics and Environmental Sociology. I've spent the past 35 years working on various aspects of livestock markets in both developed and developing countries. I see livestock products as a key element of achieving the Sustainable Development Goal of zero hunger. Protein is in short supply, and there are many people in the world who are consuming inadequate levels of protein for growth and health, and livestock products are a very affordable way of providing that. Currently, at the moment, though, we have a very unequal distribution of livestock products globally in terms of consumption. Meat consumption in the United States is around 90 kilograms a year as of 2014, and the average for the rest of the world is about 34 kilograms per person per year, suggesting that very many countries have levels of consumption much lower than 34 kilograms. That is a very serious problem in terms of achieving nutritional outcomes in some parts of the world. When we talk about livestock products and their importance in nutrition in a wide range of countries, it's important to remember that things don't stay stagnant. Even in a largely vegetarian country like India, there were significant shortages of pulses this year due to drought and El Nino. And in many cases, the price of pulses rose to such an extent that they became unaffordable for many people, and beef actually became a lower priced source of protein in India than the prices of pulses. Livestock products are an important nutrient and a really critical source of protein.
Livestock products are an affordable way of reducing nutritional inadequacies around the world. Yet there is an unequal distribution of protein consumption worldwide. Balanced and diverse food systems are needed to ensure food security and health. So we have different narratives from around the world telling us how livestock can help achieve zero hunger. Food demand is increasing globally, but resources are in short supply, made worse by the threat of climate change. Animal health welfare practices, technology and innovation, and resource allocation vary based on knowledge, accessibility, and location. We can tackle hunger by raising breeds better suited to the environment, sharing information on how to beat diseases, and examining more sustainable ways of raising livestock. Hunger is not someone else's problem, but one that affects us all. We will need diverse perspectives to combat this together. International cooperation and collaboration between research groups, farmers, producers, policymakers, and industry is crucial to tackling zero hunger. So there you have it, 7 food security lessons we learned from livestock production. 1, technology and innovation. 2, conservation. 3, diversity. 4, adaptability. 5, culture. And 6, health and resiliency. 7, accessibility.